Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in once again for our ongoing coverage for the war that is ongoing in the Middle East. Again, we are now on day 14 of this war. I'm going to be bringing you guys all of the latest reports and information from about the last 12 to 24 hours here. We'll be getting everybody updated on everything that's been going on. We open up tonight's broadcast with the view above Beirut once again. We also have live feeds coming out of Jerusalem, Tel Aviv. We have multiple feeds out of Beirut as well. Just give me one moment here while I get a few things situated for us here. And then we're going to get right into it tonight. Again, getting you guys all caught up on what's been going on here. Tonight's stream will be a little bit shorter than usual. Here we are starting a little bit later. But again, we'll still be covering everything and getting you guys all up to date on what's been going on. Possibly jumping into a little bit of analysis as well towards the end of the stream, or possibly during stream as we kind of make our way through all of the, open source intelligence reports that we have for you tonight. Give me one moment here again while I just get a few things situated. We got, again, our small feed down in the right-hand corner. That's also keeping an eye on the Beirut skyline. I am going to go ahead and disable our blast counter there, and we'll start that back up as soon as we see any other... if we see any strikes here over Beirut or on any of the other feeds, we will go ahead and get that going again. But big shout-out, Doug Wilson, Hokake, good to see you. Cindy... good to see you. Sarah, good to see you. DJ, good to see you tuning in. Rakasan, big shout out to you. Big shout out to all the mods tuning in tonight. All of the mods over there, both on the Discord, on Twitch, and on YouTube. You guys are, again, part of what makes this possible. Okay, guys, just give me a few seconds here. I'm just getting a few things going here. J-Balls, good to see you. BlackRock, good to see you. Larry, good to see you. Robert, good to see you. LD429, howdy, good to see you as well. Bubba, good to see you as always. Dinosaur, good to see you. Shazzer, good to see you. I don't, good to see you. Grace, good to see you as well. Marami, good to see you. Urkel, good to see you. Thank you for tuning in. All right, again, just give me like 2 seconds here while I just get a few things situated, and then we will get right into the reporting for this evening. We're not going to... no delays tonight. We're going to hop right into it because, again, we got a lot to go over. A lot of big developments here today. Some updates from last night's report as well for you on some of the situations we were tracking yesterday. So, again, a lot to go through. Give me one moment here, and we will get this show on the road. If you guys haven't already, make sure to hit the like button below this stream on the way in. Share it if you find that maybe somebody else could use this reporting. But yeah, definitely hit the like button. Again, it gets the algorithm's attention and helps get this content, get this reporting out to more people. So, and also if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. Again, it's the best way to get notified when new videos or live streams, when we go live, you will be notified. Let me see here. Got a few things on the agenda first. Urkel, thank you so much for the super chat there. Really appreciate you. Good to see you tuning in as always. Randomness, good to see you as well. Liani Who, good to see you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to start with our major headlines first as we, again, keep our eyes on the skyline there. I also have, our other platforms up and running this evening. Again, we're keeping on the skies via platforms like Flight Radar 24, ADSB. We're also keeping eyes on our marine traffic. Where is that? I don't got that up yet. Hold on, let me get that up. We'll definitely be taking a look at that at some point too this evening. Or at least touching on some of the events that have happened here in the Strait of Hormuz over the past 12 to 24 hours, because we got quite a bit of that. We also have our live UA maps up, as always. We'll be possibly taking a look at some of the stuff over there on that if there's anything that we've missed from our X feed here. Again, just give me 1 second here, just getting the last few things in line. Epi, good to see ya. Lead Farmer, good to see you. Suicide Jockey, good to see you as well. All right, all right. Okay, so, again, as we watch the skies over Beirut here this evening, I'm going to start with our breaking headlines, kind of like our top headlines here, I should say. Again, just give me one moment, just getting the last few things in order here. All right, guys. So, you're now locked into, again, your Nemico Network Open Source Intelligence Report. Today's Friday, March 13th, 2026. And again, we are now on day 14 of Operation Epic Fury. Again, that's that U.S.-Israeli led operation. Again, a war, to put it plainly here, again, war with Iran and across the Middle East. And again, I need to tell you right now, tonight's report is a heavy one. All right, we're going to get straight into it here. We got a lot of headlines to go over. We're going to lead with 3 major headlines that broke in the last 24 hours. Again, each of them is a pretty significant escalation here. First, again, the newest major headline development here that we have, we're going to be talking about Kharg Island there, again, which is an island positioned here. Let me see if it's geolocated on the map yet here. It might not. They got Kish Island. They have Kish Island geolocated, but they don't have Kharg Island geolocated yet. Give me 1 second here. Let's see if I have another map that has it. The strikes that are geolocated. They don't. So they don't have it yet on any of the live UA maps that I've seen. However, it is right here. So again, we're going to start with that, and then I'm going to talk about the situation with U.S. Marines being sent into the region, and then our third major headline is the updates on that U.S. Air Force KC-135 that was downed in Iraq, or I should say crash landed in Iraq. Starting with Kharg Island, though, tonight President Trump announced on Truth Social that U.S. Central Command executed, in his words, quote, one of the most powerful bombing raids in the history of the Middle East. This kind of comes as, over the past 48 hours, we've seen a lot of footage and images of them loading those MOABs, those GBU bombs, onto aircraft, as well as other munitions. And of course, the U.S. has been saying over the past 24 to 48 hours that today would be some of the heaviest strikes that have occurred in this operation on Iranian territory. Again, they said, President Trump said, quote, one of the most powerful bombing raids in the history of the Middle East. Again, striking and obliterating every military target on Kharg Island here. Again, if you don't know, Kharg Island, it's a 5-mile stretch of land off Iran's southern coast here in the Persian Gulf. It handles roughly about 90% of all Iranian crude oil exports, okay? That's a lot. That is a lot of crude oil. Again, the majority of their crude oil is processed or flows through this island right here. So this is, again, a pretty huge development. You could say this is Iran's economic jugular vein, all right? Again, and for 13 days since this war began, it had been deliberately left untouched, and tonight that has changed. Again, they have struck and obliterated a lot of the infrastructure on this island over the past few hours here. 12 hours, I think, is I think when they started striking, probably within the last 12 hours or so. And now, this is pretty critical here. Trump said the oil infrastructure on the island was not targeted. Apparently, they targeted mostly military infrastructure there. Jetski Dude, thank you so much for the Nemico Plus subscription over there. Highly appreciate it. Welcome, welcome. Thank you much. I appreciate the support. However, he called it a decision of decency. That's his wording that he used. But he made the threat very explicit. He said if Iran does not stop interfering with the free passage of ships through that Strait of Hormuz, he will, quote, immediately reconsider that decision. So possibly we might see, if they continue to strike targets, if the Iranians continue to strike vessels and impede the traffic through the strait, they might destroy that oil infrastructure. So at the moment, they've destroyed a lot of other targets on the island, but they've left some, if not all, of the oil infrastructure, like these refineries and stuff here, these oil depots and refineries that are on the island, untouched. But again, that could change at any moment. Analysts are calling this, quote, a shot across the bow. I've seen that wording used a couple times today. One retired Army Brigadier General told CNN earlier today in an interview that if the oil facilities there are ever struck, oil prices will, quote, go out of control, especially for Iran. Again, 90% of their oil flows to this island here. When we get into our X feed here and I start going through the last 12 hours, I will have some more information on that situation there at Kharg Island. So stand by for that. Next up, our second major headline here. U.S. Marines are on the move at the moment. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth approved CENTCOM's request to deploy the 31st Marine Expeditionary Unit to the Middle East. Again, this kind of comes as there's been speculation on the idea of boots on the ground here in the Middle East over recent days as I've been doing these reports. And again, I as I assessed before, and I continue to stand by this assessment, that if, again, boots are on the ground are utilized, it's going to be in a small contingent force. This could very well be part or all of that, possible small contingent force that we're seeing here, again, moving into the region. It still remains to be seen how they're going to be utilized. I have currently 3 working theories as to what they could be utilized for. The first is nothing, okay? The first theory is that they're going to move into theater here. They're going to post up somewhere either in the Arabian Sea, possibly in the Gulf somewhere here, possibly they'll move onto bases here and just stand by. So again, that first theory is that they're going to be utilized for nothing, all right? That's the most likely scenario here, okay? Is that they're just moving in as kind of a kind of like a backup option, all right, or to increase readiness. The second possibility here is they could be used to secure facilities on islands like Kharg here, or possibly some other islands here near the Strait of Hormuz. That is definitely less likely, all right? And again, it remains to be seen how exactly that all would work. Ruli Pulse. I'm not sure if I pronounced that correctly. Thank you so much for the super chat. Says, hope you're well. Thank you for reporting, as always. No problem. It's my pleasure. Again, I'm happy to see all of you guys tuning in here this evening with us, again, for this ongoing coverage. Jet Ski Dude, huge shout out to you, man. Thank you so much. Gifted 5 Nemico memberships over there in the YouTube chat. Really appreciate it, Jet Ski. Man, again, it means a lot. And this support really helps me, again, continue to bring you guys this reporting. Big shout out to the new members that got that, got those gifted memberships from Jet Ski Dude. Big round of applause to Jet Ski Dude, guys, in the chat. But shout outs to Dinosaur, who got one of those memberships. Ice Axe Hikes, Marame, Randomness, and Liana Hu. Welcome, guys. Welcome. So the third option here, all right, and there's been some talk about this in the intel community, is that these Marines could transit up. They could transit up here and go into the Mediterranean, and possibly they could go and help the Israelis with their situation here in Lebanon. They could help them. They could aid them in the fight against Hezbollah. So that's kind of the third possibility here. Again, with this Marine Expeditionary Unit. But I think I stand by my current assessment at the moment, and this very well might change in the coming days here. That probably they're going to be doing nothing. They're most likely going to be, again, kind of standing by here. Again, it's kind of like an act of increased readiness here and possibly a backup plan. But again, that could change, all right? Everything is open to change at the moment. It's about 10 or 12 days. They're actually they're not transiting from the U.S. They are transiting from the South Pacific here, going down through the again the South Pacific Sea here, and they're going to have to come around India here and up into the Gulf, unless of course they transit up to the Mediterranean. Again, to help Israel here in Lebanon. But again, that remains to be seen what exactly is going to go down there, as I said. But there's going to be, again, approximately 10 to 12 days before they come into theater here. So it's going to take some time for them to get here. Marami, also big shout out to Marami. Thank you so much. Gifting it forward there tonight. Was just gifted one of those 5 memberships from Jetski Dude, and then immediately paid it forward and sent 5 more Nemico gift memberships. And again, big shout out to you. Thank you so much. I highly appreciate it. Marami, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly there, but big shout out to the other 5 that were just gifted memberships. Curtis, Will Russell, Harlan Martin, Lead Farmer, and Doug Wilson. Welcome, guys. Welcome aboard. So yeah, again, it remains to be seen where this is going to go with this Marine Expeditionary Unit being deployed to the region. And again, we probably won't know exactly how this is going to pan out, probably for another week, if not more. But again, my current assessment is that they're probably not going to be doing anything. They're probably going to be hanging out here in the Gulf, or possibly even going on to land here and shoring up some of these U.S. bases here is just kind of like an added security measure. I think that would be the first most likely scenario. Second most likely is that they go up to help Israel in Lebanon. And then, of course, third and least likely scenario is that they are used on some of these islands here to secure possibly some of the oil infrastructure there as well. Curtis Sweet, thank you for sending the... he sent 1 gift membership there in the chat. Highly appreciated, Curtis. Again, guys, thank you so much for the support. I really, really appreciate it here. Rolling on, all right? Actually, give me 1 second here. I might have a little bit more for you guys on the Marine Expeditionary Unit. Actually, I do. Okay, so before we move on to our third major headline here, which again, I have other headlines to report on, but these are kind of... I'm going through like our top 3 right now. Again, that was... Okay, that was approved. That was Pete Hegseth approved CENTCOM's request. So CENTCOM is requesting this here. Okay, just to make that perfectly clear. And they're deploying the 31st Marine Expeditionary Unit to the Middle East. Again, they're not saying yet where they are going to exactly. However, the force is centered on the USS Tripoli. Again, that's an American-class amphibious assault ship, along with the USS New Orleans, the USS San Diego, and the guided missile destroyer USS Rafael Peralta. We're talking approximately 2,200 to 2,500 Marines, give or take. That includes both support and combat roles there. They're also sending in F-35B stealth fighter jets along with them. MV-22 Osprey tri-rotors, those tri-rotor aircraft there. I believe I've shown you those a couple times here on the stream in the past. And full amphibious landing capability. So they do have amphibious landing capability if they are going to move on some of these islands like Kharg, that island that we mentioned a short time ago. Again, it remains to be seen exactly what they're going to utilize here, or how they're going to be utilized here. But again, they do have that capability, that full amphibious landing capability at their disposal. These forces are currently transiting, again, from their home base in Japan. And analysts estimate, again, it's about 10 to 15 days to the Strait of Hormuz there from where they are currently located. I kind of got like a more accurate assessment that I did earlier today, and it's probably more like 12 days exactly is how long this is going to take. They might be able to speed up the pace a little bit there and, again, make their way to the Gulf a little quicker than that. But they're about 10 to 15 days out, somewhere in that range, more likely around 12 days exactly, until they, again, come into theater there. What does this mean? Again, CENTCOM now has ground, air, and amphibious options here, okay? So they have naval assets, they have their air power, and they now also have a ground element as well, that can be utilized if ordered. Defense analysts from the war zone earlier today have noted the obvious strategic implication here that Marine Expeditionary Unit gives commanders the capability to seize Iranian islands in and around the Strait of Hormuz. Again, Kharg Island has also been discussed in that context. The Pentagon is not confirming intentions at this time, but the force is on the move. So again, keep that in mind. No intentions have been disclosed. Of course, they're not going to. That would make operational sense to do that, to disclose what their intentions are for this unit. But again, my big guess here is that they're probably going to be moved into theater here and we might not see anything from them. But again, that depends. Again, the second most realistic possibility, I think, is that they possibly transit up here into the Mediterranean, possibly aid Israel. But again, I mean, and I still say it's probably less likely, but possible. Again, for them to possibly look at moving those forces onto maybe some of these islands here. However, the logistical capability, to emplace Marines in some of these areas, even on these islands, right? Not to mention the coastlines here. Again, to support 2,200 Marines to 2,500 Marines, give or take, and to keep them alive in those regions, right, and out of harm's way. Again, that's a big task. So, again, it remains to be seen. But at the moment, I'm sticking with the assessment here that it's less likely. All right, give me 1 second here. Stand by. All right. Now to our third headline here, and it's a somber one. Yesterday, I reported on that U.S. Air Force KC-135 refueling aircraft that went down in western Iraq. Shortly after I ended that broadcast last night, and again, that was near the town of Turabil along the Iraqi-Jordanian border, which involved 2 aircraft in the initial incident there. One safely landed with some damage, though. We've seen images of that. And the other, unfortunately, did not. And again, this news broke shortly after I ended last night's broadcast. This morning, U.S. Central Command confirmed all 6 crew members aboard are deceased, unfortunately. CENTCOM stated the crash was not the result of hostile fire, so they did clarify on that. It was not the result of friendly fire either. So, they gave extra clarification to that. Officials have told CBS News that the incident may have involved a mid-air collision, as we assessed last night, and other analysts in the intel community have also assessed based on, pictures of the damage to that aircraft and initial reports. Officials, again, told reporters today that, again, it was that it may have involved a mid-air collision, but the investigation is ongoing, all right? So we may get some other information here on this, possibly in the coming days. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth addressed it directly at the Pentagon brief this morning. He said, quote, "War is hell, war is chaos. American heroes, all of them." End quote. This now brings that confirmed U.S. military death toll in Operation Epic Fury to 13 since February 28th. Again, that makes 7 killed by enemy fire, 6 now killed in this crash. And again, it is the 4th U.S. aircraft loss since the war began. That includes the 3 F-15s that were actually shot down by Kuwait, again, in that friendly fire incident. No pilots or personnel were injured during that, or killed during that. They did sustain very minor injuries, but from reports, they have returned to duty now. And then, of course, the KC-135 that crashed as well. Beyond our 3 lead stories tonight, here's what else. Here's what is also developing in the region over the past 12 to 24 hours. And again, keep in mind, I'm just kind of reading through our major headlines here. I will be going through individual headlines and open source intelligence reports, videos, images, and stuff like that in just a few moments when we jump over to our X feed. I'm starting off just kind of with our main headlines there. Give me one moment here. 1 second. We're getting some audio here. Not sure if this is... I think it is Tel Aviv that we're getting that audio out of. All right, so again, beyond our 3 headlines, ship attacks in and around the Strait of Hormuz continue to escalate. And again, I was mentioning that very briefly a minute ago. But again, in the past 12 hours, there was another ship that was hit here in the Strait. The U.S.-owned tanker, Safe Sea Vishnu, was struck by 2 unmanned explosive-laden boats in Iraqi territory. That was near the waters of Basra, which is up yonder here. Again, those were struck by 2 explosive-laden boats, Iranian boats, that were unmanned. Both were unmanned, which is an interesting development. Again, they're kind of using those unmanned drone boats, you could say, again, to strike those vessels there. Again, this is a deliberate, calculated operation according to the vessel's U.S. owner and operator. The Maltese-flagged Zephyros was hit the same night. That was hours earlier. Container ship was struck 35 nautical miles from Dubai's Jebel Ali port. I believe I also mentioned that last night. That was one of the vessels that I reported on last night. So, again, we're kind of going through like the last 24, stretching into maybe 36 hours here of vessels that have been struck there. 16 commercial vessels have now been attacked in the Persian Gulf since the 28th February, when this operation began here, when this war began. The shipping industry has made near-daily requests for the U.S. Navy escorts through the strait. Again, so far, the Navy has declined to escort ships through the strait here. Again, assessing the threat level is too high currently. Treasury Secretary Besant said this week the U.S. Navy could escort tankers. Hegseth said today, and I quote, don't need to worry about it. The strait remains effectively closed. However, we have had sporadic, not reports, but statements by the U.S. administration that the strait is still open. So it's kind of conflicting information there. Again, vessels are being hit there. There's issues with insurance, insuring the vessels going through the straits. And again, the idea of naval escorts is still kind of up in the air here as they're trying to figure out how that's going to work. On the Iranian leadership front, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth today publicly confirmed what Israeli intelligence has assessed. Iran's new supreme leader, Mojtaba Khamenei, is wounded, quote, likely disfigured, as they said, and has gone underground. Again, those are the words coming straight from the Pentagon and Secretary for Pete Hegseth. Vice President J.D. Vance echoed the assessment, saying, quote, we know he's hurt, no video, no audio, no live appearance from Khamenei since his father was killed on the 28th February. For now, Iran is being led from the shadows, as they are saying. So, again, interesting developments there. Despite the war, though, Iranian leadership showed its face in a different way today. They had their Quds Day rallies that took place across Iran. Foreign Minister IRGC, I believe is how you pronounce his name, senior judiciary officials, and the Iranian president were all photographed participating in marches. In marches there in Tehran. Again, through the capital of Iran there. During one broadcast, an audible explosion detonated nearby as a senior Iranian judge continued speaking, barely flinching. The message from Tehran: we are not hiding, and we are still here. Again, it's kind of the statement that they're trying to put out there. Two other developments worth flagging before I, kind of wrap up this read-off of the main headlines here, and we start going into our open source intelligence stuff here on X. U.S. Army officials confirmed that nearly 10,000 AI-powered drones called MUROPs, developed by a defense-backed firm, backed by former Google CEO Eric Schmidt, have been deployed to the Middle East theater. These same drones have already downed over 1,000 Iranian-made Shahed drones in Ukraine. They are now operational against Iranian drone threats in the Gulf. And finally, Qatar is reportedly evacuating key areas of the country as Iran continues its campaign of strikes against U.S.-aligned Gulf states. And, of course, I'll have more on some of the strikes that are happening in these Gulf nations here in just a few minutes as we start going through our open source intelligence reports on X. But again, that kind of concludes your major headline debrief there on everything that's kind of happened, the major developments at least. We're now going to jump over and go into more detail here on X. Give me 1 second though. I'm just looking at a few things that came into me here. Let me see. Okay, so Rakkasan posted this in the Middle East News Channel on the Discord server, which, by the way, if you guys are not in the Discord yet, there's a link to that in the description below. Great place for information, and you can join in on our wonderful community discussions over there. But this is some NASA firms. This was posted to X. some images from NASA firms. Again, it says it looks like they didn't hit much. So again, it does look like they avoided the oil infrastructure there, as you can see in this image. Get that on screen. In fact, let's take a look at, really quick, let's take a look at our NASA firms map. And we'll take a look and see if we can spot those on the map there. Okay, here they are here. So this is more updated imagery here than what was taken here. Again, it might be because we are zoomed in. Let me see if I can get a better fix on that. No, so it does look like we do have more fires reported here. Give me 1 second here. If we uncheck mark this box here, we can kind of start to get an idea of what was hit. What's interesting, though, it doesn't look like there was too many facilities. Possibly they hit these facilities here and these facilities here in this area. And then if we scroll down here, possibly some buildings were hit along here. However, again, NASA firms just shows bright burning fires. It is possible that other targets were hit on the island and that just no fires were resulted from them. But again, the NASA firm satellite here did detect major fires here on that island. But it does look like a lot of the oil infrastructure, again, that you could see here on the island was not touched. Again, this isn't current satellite imagery. The only thing current is the fire detection coming from NASA firms. So keep that in mind as you're looking at these images that I'm showing you here. Again, it remains to be seen. We should be getting updated satellite imagery within the next 12 hours here or so off of the island. And so we should be able to see what was hit. Again, in the next 12 to 24 hours here or so, give or take. We should be able to get some more details on what exactly was hit there on that island. All right, so there are some other posts here. This one, to kind of add on to that reporting there. This post on X here saying everything on this map has likely been struck by several strategic bombers of the U.S. Air Force. This map is kind of outlining some of the targets that very well may have been struck there. So again, it remains to be seen. We're waiting for that satellite imagery to come in so we know. Again, so that we know what all again was included in those strikes. Again, so without further ado, we're going to start going through our X feed here and getting you guys kind of caught up on everything over the past 12 hours. And tonight, good thing I just remembered to do this. I almost forgot. But tonight we're going to start at 12 hours and we'll scroll backwards. That way, we're starting at the 12-hour mark and then moving backwards in time, getting you updated on everything that occurred. Give me 1 second here just to... I don't want to spoil too much here. Let's try to get down to the 12-hour mark, and then I can scroll from there. Vart Shiva, good to see you. Oh, we're at 13 hours. Let's go back to our first 12-hour post. We'll start at that point. We'll start here because this is an important one that I've been wanting to go through, or again report to you guys. JB Bost, good to see you. It says, would the smoke occlude it? If you're speaking about the NASA firms map, very heavy smoke might. Again, I'm not 100% sure on, again, the sensors that they're using on those NASA firm satellites. However, I know their main detection method is just basically thermal spikes. They're looking at thermal infrared spikes from space, basically. So they can see, again, if a major fire is burning, that pops up there. Katie Horton, good to see you. Cian Gooden, good to see you. Parkers, good to see you. Good to see you, good to see you. Thank you for tuning in tonight. To everybody tuning in tonight, thank you so much. Again, so we're going to start on our X feed here. If you guys are not already following us on X, that's x.com/Nemico Network. We post 24/7 open source intelligence reports, analysis, and news. Again, not only aggregated, not only our own curated stuff that we post there, but we also aggregate from other sources from across the web. Highly recommend you go and give us a follow over there. Again, we're still kind of building that up and working on that system there in this X feed here. But again, it's been a very valuable asset having this feed, especially for doing these live streams and bringing you guys this reporting here. Again, so starting 12 hours ago, Lebanese army warned citizens not to engage with leaflets dropped by Israeli planes over Beirut. We got these videos in earlier today. When I first saw these, it was very reminiscent to, scenes in World War II. Reminded me of Dunkirk. I don't know if any of you have seen that movie, but the scenes over Dunkirk of leaflets being dropped. But again, the IDF dropped all these leaflets, and I have some images of what was on these leaflets as well that has been translated that I'll show you here in just a few minutes. I'm sure we'll have that post just a little bit up in the feed here. But again, here is footage from Beirut today of them dropping these leaflets. Study of war stuff here. Again, this is the statement about that KC-135. We are devastated by the loss. This is coming from the Chief of Staff of the Air Force, by the way. We are devastated by the loss of our airmen supporting Operation Epic Fury and extend our sincerest condolences to their families and communities affected. Our warfighters answered the nation's call, and we will honor their sacrifice as we continue to fight until the job is done. Now, the identities of these deceased airmen will not be released until 24 hours following the notification to the next of kin. So it will be some time before we know exactly who those airmen were, again, that were involved in that crash. 12 hours ago here, UAE air defense systems have been activated incoming Iran attack. That was 12 hours ago. 12 hours ago, France and Italy are in talks with Iran for ensuring safe crossing from the Strait of Hormuz. Again, they want to get their ships through there. And again, so they are conducting talks with Iran at the moment, which is, again, an interesting development. 12 hours ago here, a correction. This was, again, a correction given by open source intel on X here that was, again, posted, aggregated into our feed. We also went and deleted that image that was posted as well. Again, it was just an image that came out during a wave of strikes, and they ended up removing that image as well. So we also redacted that as well for, again, clarification purposes there. 12 hours ago, the UAE state minister says, quote, Iran must stop attacking its neighbors to allow diplomacy to take hold. Mediation can only happen when the guns go silent. Diplomacy will ultimately end the conflict with Iran, and President Trump will lead us all to that moment in his time. 12 hours ago, we are not afraid of bombing, said Iran's judiciary chief. Minutes later, the IDF Air Force struck. This is that blast that was heard as that judge was speaking. We can take a look at this clip here. Keep in mind, it's not translated.
فلسطین اعلام می‌کنم و از همه جبهه مقاومت ایران اسلامی تا آخرین لحظه تا سرنگونی این فرعون صفت‌ها ایستاده و کمترین.
Let me see if I can scroll through and find the spot. Okay. I think right here is where the blast. Right there. So right there, he's talking, and everybody kind of turns their heads. Again, an explosion had happened from again, what is suspected to be an Israeli or U.S. airstrike in the background. You can see everybody kind of turn their heads, but again, he kind of again doesn't flinch there and continues speaking. I don't believe the camera ever pans to see the explosion, but nonetheless, that was the video that I was referencing in those headlines that I read off earlier. Same video there, cross-posted. 11 hours ago, Trump says he's not focused on operation to take Iranian uranium, but at some point we might be. 11 hours ago, Trump says the U.S. will be hitting Iran hard over the next week. Trump commenting on Iranian sleeper cells says there could be more than 1,700 sleeper cells. I believe he was referencing a number globally there and not within the United States. 11 hours ago, the Pentagon weighs sending more warships to escort tankers through the Strait of Hormuz. Again, we're awaiting more information on that. Again, So it remains to be seen if they're going to start escorting, again, vessels through the strait there. But that does seem like the logical next step here for the U.S. Again, 11 hours ago, CENTCOM had confirmed the deaths of those 6 aircrew on board that U.S. Air Force KC-135 tanker that went down last night over western Iraq, as I reported on earlier. 11 hours ago, CENTCOM posting some footage here saying for many years the Iranian regime has posed the greatest threat to peace and stability in the Middle East. The United States forces continue to take decisive measures aimed at neutralizing Iran's power projection. And then in this video here, again, they're seen taking out more of those mobile ballistic missile launchers. Initial reports on this video is that it was from strikes that occurred in the past 72 hours. We have morning prayer coming in here tonight on our Jerusalem feed. I'm going to go ahead and turn that down just a little bit there so it's not interfering with our microphone audio. More about those crew members here. Again, this was the official post by Central Command. Again, they reiterated the circumstances of this incident are under investigation. However, the loss of the aircraft was not due to hostile or friendly fire. And, of course, they're withholding the identities for 24 hours after after the next of kin have been notified there. 11 hours ago, Lebanese foreign minister says, quote, we reaffirm our commitment to implementing the decision to ban Hezbollah's military activities and to restrict weapons to state security forces. And that comes as the IDF continues to strike targets in Beirut there. And is the primary reason why we are continuing to keep these Beirut feeds up on screen here during these live streams. Because, again, we've seen many, many strikes occur there. We saw 2 or 3 last night during last night's live stream. So, yes, if you guys are just tuning in here now, again, we're just starting to go through our open source intelligence feeds here on X. Please do me a favor, hit the like button below. Again, it helps get this stream out to more people that may want to see this reporting. Again, appreciate everybody for tuning in this evening. Continuing on here, 11 hours ago, according to the situation assessment, the Chief of Staff has ordered a broad reinforcement of forces under the Northern Command. Another interesting development there of increased readiness level. 11 hours ago, Trump to Fox News says the regime in Iran will fall, but maybe not immediately. Again, hinting that this operation may take longer than initially assessed. Or initially stated that it would, I should say. 11 hours ago, Gutierrez requests $325 million to fund urgent Lebanon relief over the next 3 months. Quote, I have just landed in Beirut for a visit of solidarity with the people of Lebanon. They did not choose this war. They were dragged into it. So again, they're trying to get some funding there to help out some of the people there in Lebanon. 11 hours ago, over 1,100 strikes on Northern Front eliminate more than 380 Hezbollah operatives. Again, that's referring to the Northern Front here that you see shaded in red. Again, a lot of heavy fighting happening there over recent days as Israel has moved in on the ground and is holding territory in this area and, contesting some of this territory as well. Again, taking out Hezbollah installations and sites there in that region. 11 hours ago, in a statement from Trump, says the economy will bounce right back when the Iran war is over. 11 hours ago, just in, guard on duty at Jeffrey Epstein's death set to testify before the House Oversight Committee. I know a few of you have been talking about this in the chats today. Again, remains to be seen what new insights come from that those statements that will be made as they will testify again before a House Oversight Committee there. So that should be interesting. 11 hours ago, Israel's foreign ministry says, quote, on the last Friday of Ramadan, the Iranian regime launched a missile that struck the Muslim town of Zarzir in Israel. Proof once again, Iran's terror machine doesn't care who its missiles hit. Civilians are their targets. Now, I have some video of the aftermath of that footage here on screen. As well as some images here on screen as well of some of the damage from that strike. "11 hours ago, Israel's chief of staff has instructed the IDF to prepare for an extended period of fighting, with the military readying for the coming weeks, including the Nisan holiday period. Again, they're looking to, continue fighting through that period there in areas in Lebanon. And no doubt across Iran as well. 11 hours ago, incoming Iranian missile was detected for Israel. We had those reports on our live alert map. In fact, I need to make sure I have that map running for us here. Give me one moment. So our last alert came in 6 minutes ago, actually. We had a confrontation line alert that was in the north of the country. You could see here, again, that's a lot. That is related to, a lot of those are related to, again, the fighting that's happening there on that northern front. 11 minutes ago, we had another confrontation line alert, and then 47 minutes ago, we had another confrontation line alert as well. 2 hours ago, we had, air raid alert alarms go off over central to northern Israel here, up kind of near towards Haifa there. Again, that's the last significant alert that happened. Upper Galilee had one 2 hours ago as well. Some other locations in central Israel, but then the rest of them came 5 to 6 hours ago. So, again, the most recent ones here are those confrontation line alerts. 11 hours ago, just in, Iran denies firing any missiles towards Turkey. That comes as missiles were intercepted again over Turkish airspace there. Again, waiting to get more information on that situation that's been developing in Turkey there over the past 48 hours or so. Again, they keep denying, we keep seeing footage and reports out of these missiles being intercepted over Turkey. However, Iran keeps denying it. I mean, of course, take that as you may. But again, very interesting to see how that develops there in Turkey. Turkey is trying their hardest to stay out of this conflict as much as possible at the moment. 11 hours ago, Trump says Putin may be helping Iran, quote, a little bit. We know that they are, again, after we've gotten reports over the past few days here, again, we do know that they are providing intelligence to the Iranians, again, for striking, for those using those one-way attack drones, those UAVs, for striking U.S. targets in the Gulf nations there. 11 hours ago, again, this is coming from Centefender on X, the Pentagon is moving a Marine Expeditionary Unit to the Middle East as Iran steps up its attacks on shipping in the Strait of Hormuz, according to two U.S. officials who spoke to the Wall Street Journal. Again, I just reported on that earlier tonight. 11 hours ago, again, this is also coming from the Pentagon to the Wall Street Journal, again, confirming it's about up to 2,500 troops that are deploying there. More on that here. Again, this was the actual clipping from that Wall Street Journal article, and same here as well. Trump, in a statement 11 hours ago, said, quote, the Iran war could end soon, adding, he'll know it's over when I feel it in my bones, he said. 11 hours ago, Italy's foreign ministry has denied the Financial Times report that it was negotiating with Iran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz for Italian vessels. Again, that comes, as I mentioned earlier, from that open source intel report there that France and Italy are in talks with Iran for ensuring the strait, the safe crossing, again, across that strait there. But Italy has denied those reports. So, again, interesting. Footage of IDF airstrikes here in Iran. And this is more of their recent airstrikes that have occurred there. Dum Dum in the live chat. Good to see you. Good to see you. Says, I thought Trump wasn't going to put boots on the ground. Again, so they haven't put boots on the ground yet. And as I mentioned earlier in this broadcast here, there are three primary possibilities here of what these Marines are going to be used for. The first, most likely, again, in my current assessment, is that they will be used for nothing. Keep that in mind. They very well, again, will be moved into theater. And this is a very small force, believe it or not. 2,300 to 2,500 Marines is still a very small contingent force, all right? That is nowhere needed. That is nowhere where we would need... Like, that is nowhere near the amount that we would need, I should say. Sorry, words are hard. Again, to do a full boots-on-the-ground invasion or boots-on-the-ground operation within Iran. And for that, it would take weeks, if not months, to get that type of boots-on-the-ground manpower into the Middle East. It would take a very, very long time, and a lot of logistics as well. So again, it remains to be seen how they're going to use these Marine forces here. But as I mentioned earlier, there are 3 possible scenarios. The first, most likely, for nothing, all right? Possibly to shore up some of these U.S. bases in the Gulf nations, just to kind of increase the security posture there. I still think that is most likely. Or they'll just kind of hang out here in the Gulf, on ships, and just stand by. Second most likely is that they'll again transit up into the Mediterranean and possibly help out Israel here in Lebanon on the ground. Again, that would be a boots on the ground scenario, but not inside Iran, but inside Lebanese territory. And then of course the third most likely scenario is that they would simply be used possibly to conduct an amphibious landing on some of these islands here, possibly hold that territory, hold that oil infrastructure there, that oil and energy infrastructure that is on islands like Kharg Island. Again, I still think that's the least likely of the 3 scenarios, but again, it remains to be seen. Remains to be seen of how they're going to be used. Again, here's that footage here, again, of those IDF airstrikes on Iran. Again, this is some of their more recent footage here you're seeing on your screen. Yeah, and as Sean D. Richmond said, and I mentioned this in earlier in tonight's report, that as Sean in the live chat here says, clarification for everyone: 2,500 Marines on a Marine Expeditionary Unit is only about 1,000 infantry. The rest are support. And he also said in the live chat here, engineers have historically been a part of the makeup of a Marine Expeditionary Unit, and so keep that in mind. The majority of the soldiers in this unit here that are being deployed are going to be in support roles. Okay, and again, less of them are going to be infantry, okay, or actual combat roles, all right? Now, I guess you could make the argument that all Marines are riflemen, as they would say. However, again, this is a very small force here. This does not mean any major boots on the ground operation is going to happen in Iran. That would that would be pretty much a suicide mission. For those Marines. Again, it would be almost impossible to support them, a small contingent force like that moving in, or even holding ground on the coast here would be pretty difficult. And I'm sure if that order came up the chain, there would be many general officers along the way that would again, not sign off on that, because the logistical hurdles that you would have to overcome, and not only that, but the safety concerns for trying to, again, utilize such a small contingent force of Marines, again, to hold any territory or go in and conduct operations here, even along the coast, would be very difficult. Not to mention on the islands here as well. So, again, I think that is less likely. Possibly we could see this occur on Kharg. It is possible, and it could be done. Again, the Marines are very, very, very capable fighting force, all right? Some of the most capable fighters in the world, and they definitely could. They definitely could pull that off. However, it wouldn't be impossible, but it wouldn't be easy. All right, let's put it that way. And again, I still assess that this is probably the least likely of the scenarios. And again, the first 2 likely being that they're basically just sent in to shore some of these bases here, possibly just standing by in the Gulf, or if not, maybe going over to help Israel here in Lebanon. Those are the most likely scenarios. But again, it remains to be seen how they're going to be used. It also remains to be seen if the U.S. is going to deploy more Marines or more forces. That's another turn that this could take. So again, keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Scotty No says maybe for regional embassies. Yes. So that's another yes. That is a great great question there in the live chat, and that's kind of what I mean by shoring up some of these bases and other sites here in the Gulf nations. They very well could be used to help, again, protect some of the embassies. They could be used to help protect some of those bases that are in the region as well. I think that would be more likely than them actually conducting any boots on the ground operations on these islands or along the coastal regions of Iran. 11 hours ago, the IDF spokesperson says, last night we attacked a facility of the Intelligence Directorate of Hatam al-Nabiyah the Emergency Command. This body is responsible for consolidating information collected by intelligence agencies in Iran and presenting it to the regime's security leadership. 11 hours ago, just in, the IDF says we attacked the facility where several senior officials from the Intelligence Directorate of the command were present. At this stage, we are examining the results of the attack. 11 hours ago, Trump on Iran's Mojtaba Khamenei. He says, quote, I think he's damaged, but I think he's probably alive in some form. They've been doing a lot of talking, so he's going to have to put up. We'll have to see because we are decimating them. 11 hours ago, this was just a repost from another Intel source there. I'll go ahead and remove that from the feed. That's not relevant. 11 hours ago, IDF operations across Iran. Approximately 7,600 strikes have been carried out, including 2,000 against Iranian terror headquarters and 4,700 targeting missile programs. Thousands of Iranian operatives have been eliminated within the Israeli Air Force campaign there. But again, this is that same footage I showed you just moments ago, so we don't need to look at that again. IDF operations in Lebanon, more than 1,100 strikes hit Hezbollah targets, including 190 Radwan force sites, 200 missile/launcher positions, 35 command centers, and 80 multi-story terror facilities. All right, these multi-story terror facilities that they're referencing, we've seen a lot of those strikes here. These are the multi-story terror facilities here, are some of these buildings that we've seen hit. Not just here in Beirut, but across Lebanon. I also believe we see a fire here. This was not glowing earlier, I do not believe, and it does look like possibly there might be a fire burning over there near those buildings. Missile fragments from Iran hit central Israel, sparking fires and sirens. No injuries were reported, though. So again, this is debris from a downed missile here. And again, this image here on screen is a great example of the fact that even though, you know, the Iron Dome intercepts those missiles, they can still cause damage to both personnel, civilians, and material damage as well. 10 hours ago, the IDF reinforces northern Israel as fighting with Hezbollah escalates. Lieutenant General Eyal Zamir ordered a broad troop boost. A broad troop boost. God, words are hard this evening. Including units from the 98th Division and mobilized reservists from the 252nd Division to cover deployments to the north. The IDF estimates 4,000 to 5,000 Iranian soldiers and commanders have been killed in Israeli strikes since the war began, including members of Iran's internal security and besieged forces. Israel plans several more weeks of operations targeting regime centers, weapon production, and nuclear facilities. This is some more comments by President Trump here on the uranium. When asked, would you say that it is important to get the uranium that Wickoff talked about? Is there some type of operation in place to grab it? And I've talked about this on the reports over the past few weeks here about, you know, the possibility they might go in and try to secure some of those uranium storage facility sites. However, Trump said no, not at all. We are not focused on that, but at some point we might be. IDF, a female pilot and female navigator destroyed Hezbollah missile launcher in southern Lebanon. It was a quote of some of the words spoken in this clip here, but let's just take a look at the clip itself.
رشيد كيف أنا بسمليت رشيد.
So again, that was that female IDF pilot and female navigator, again destroying that Hezbollah missile launcher in southern Lebanon. Not sure if this was done from a fighter aircraft. It does look to be Yeah, possibly from a fighter aircraft or possibly a helicopter, an attack helicopter that they used there. Again, hard to tell just from this video alone. Yeah, I'm leaning towards more that was a fighter aircraft there. A two-seater. Again, with one navigator, one pilot. 10 hours ago, Iran's embassy in Ankara has denied launching any ballistic missiles toward Turkey, saying, quote, no munition has been launched from Iran towards Turkey, and stressing that Tehran respects Turkey's sovereignty and territorial integrity. Again, they keep denying that those missiles are theirs. 10 hours ago, Trump says their missile attacks are down to a trickle now compared to what they were. Now they will go out because they hear me make that statement. That's all right, because they will go out and we have it covered and guarded. 10 hours ago, since Hezbollah decided to enter the war, Lebanon's health ministry reports 773 dead, 1,933 have been injured. Trump on Mojtaba Khomeini, saying, quote, this is not somebody that the father even wanted. You were asking whether or not he is alive. A lot of people are trying to figure that one out. Let's see here. Here's some footage of an American airstrike on an Iranian Air Force Su-22 tactical bomber while it was inside its hardened aircraft shelter at the 4th Fighter Base in Desful, Iran. You can see this video here on screen of that target being struck, I believe, by a MQ-9 Reaper drone using a Hellfire missile, I believe is what they used there. You can see the geolocation here for where that strike occurred. Again, 9 hours ago, 2,200 Marines at the 31st Marine Expeditionary Unit, accompanied by the Tripoli Amphibious Ready Group, again, which consists of the Tripoli, San Diego, New Orleans, and, of course, that missile destroyer, the Peralta, as well. Again, heading into theater. Again, also with Ospreys and F-35s. So that is also worth noting there. 9 hours ago here, during this morning's press conference at the Pentagon, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Kane, revealed that MGM-140 Army Tactical Missile Systems, again, that's a surface-launched tactical ballistic missile, again, has been utilized there. You can see some footage of those here. Some other footage here, again, from CENTCOM. Again, this appears to be a Sukhoi Su-22 that they took out there. This is one of the missile launchers. And then, of course, the Su-22 in that hardened aircraft shelter that I showed you moments ago. 9 hours ago, some breaking news. General Dan Kane revealed during that press conference that U.S. artillery forces just made history blowing up an Iranian submarine using, again, one of those anti-submarine missiles there. Again, from the HIMARS system. Again, using a ATAC-MS against military targets in Iran last week. And again, earlier this week in support of Operation Epic Fury. Again, those are the missiles that's one of the missiles they used to down that submarine. 8 hours ago, Iran targeted central Israel with cluster munitions again amidst their newest wave of strikes against Israel and the Gulf nations. Don't even get me started on this one, ladies and gentlemen, but we will watch the footage nonetheless. Yes, the Army took out a submarine. Yeah, pretty significant development there. Eight hours ago, from Centfender, Israel's Homefront Command has declared that the all-clear following the latest wave of Iranian strikes on the Mediterranean nation. Also, 8 hours ago, IAF jets pound Tehran. Around 90 fighters unleashed 200 munitions on Iranian infrastructure overnight. You can see those geolocated on this nice little graphic here that the IDF put out for us. Miss Tiger Eye, good to see you tuning in. Good to see you. So, in a new development here, the U.S. Department of State's Diplomatic Security Service is offering Iranians up to $10 million bounty, $10 million reward, you should say, for information on a number of key leaders within Iran's IRGC, including that newly elected supreme leader, Moshtaba. In this graphic they put out here, these individuals command and direct various elements of the IRGC. If you have information on these or other key IRGC leaders or its component branches, send it to us via our Tor-based tip line or Signal chat. Your information could make you eligible for relocation and a reward. So there could be some lucky Iranian citizens there, being relocated and becoming very rich if the U.S., pays out those $10 million awards for information leading to the elimination or possible capture, most likely elimination, of those key leaders. 8 hours ago, per the Steppe news agency, Iraqi security forces have said that airstrikes are now ongoing against Iranian-backed Popular Mobilization Front PMF positions in Kirkuk, Iraq. And some more footage of missile strikes there by Iran over Israel. 8 hours ago, the Saudi Arabian Ministry of Defense announced the tracking and interception of 6 Iranian drones in the eastern regions of the country. Saudi Arabian Ministry of Defense announced tracking and interception of 2 Iranian drones. So this was 6 Iranian drones in this one, and then a short while later, they also, again, in another post said 2 more. Coming from CENTDEFENDER 8 hours ago, after Iran's latest ballistic missile strikes on central Israel, damage can be seen in one town as fires burn after an impact of a missile. Take a look at this footage here on screen. From the Turkish president said, "We are acting with extreme caution against traps and provocations aimed at dragging our country into war. We are examining not only what is visible, but what lies behind the scenes, ruling out no possibility and analyzing every threat." So again, Turkey's trying their hardest, their damnedest, to stay out of this war. Again, more footage, again, of those alleged cluster munitions being used, again, over Israel. Multiple areas were reportedly damaged, including a residential unit. I believe that was due to falling debris, if I'm not mistaken, if I read those early reports correctly. 8 hours ago, following reports that the U.S. has sent a sizable Marine Corps element to the Middle East, the IRGC has said they targeted troop concentrations in Erbil, Iraq, and Al Dhafra in the United Arab Emirates. Again, following up from that headline I read earlier, again, the U.S. Army has sent 10,000 of those MIROPS, AI-enabled interceptor drones developed in Ukraine by the California-based defense venture Project Eagle to the Middle East. You can see an image of one of those interceptor drones there on screen. Very interesting stuff. Very interesting. 8 hours ago, an Iranian cluster warhead missile scattered submunitions across central Israel, damaging at least 3 sites and sparking a rooftop fire. Again, still waiting to get more information here. This might be our, if we can get more images, possibly of some of the fragments from the cluster munitions, alleged cluster munitions that are being used here. This could be the knife in the coffin, so to speak. Or, sorry, the nail in the coffin. Words are hard. The nail in the coffin on the, again, the alleged use of these cluster munitions here by Iran in Israel. So again, I hope to see more information on this. Again, yeah, as I've stated over, recent broadcasts here, we have yet to get more concrete confirmation on if they are actually utilizing these cluster munitions here. Again, no doubt they very well could. They do possess them. I don't rule that possibility out at all. But again, we have seen a lot of those videos of those missiles being intercepted and then flaming debris raining down to Earth here. But this, again, these statements of, cluster warhead, along with these posts, have been used quite often as of late, spreading like wildfire. So I'm hoping that we start to get more information and more evidence so we can, again, get to the bottom of that one. Get that bottom. Toon Rob, no, I'm going to avoid it as much as possible. We're going to avoid another cluster munition rant tonight. Again, I just want to get to the bottom of that one. Again, it's that's been a hot topic on our streams over recent weeks here, over the past few weeks here. I want to get to the bottom of that. If they are utilizing those munitions, what types of munitions are they exactly utilizing? Again, ruling that out or, confirming that they are would be, again, the ideal situation here. Dinosaur asks, have you heard about the Skydio X-10D drone stolen from Fort Campbell? Yes, I was just reading an article about that earlier today, actually. Pretty interesting situation. 8 hours ago, a powerful airstrike on the southern suburb of Beirut was filmed here. Let's take a look at this. Do you guys notice anything interesting about this video? Is that what I noticed is the small arms fire right after the explosion landed, or right after the munition impacted and exploded. You hear the small arms fire, and we noticed that a lot when we were watching strikes occur on Beirut live over the past week. So I found that quite interesting. The Pentagon is moving a Marine Expeditionary Unit. I already reported on that, so we can skip that one. Hearing a jet actually coming in over Beirut at the moment. So that's interesting. So statements given, again, in an interview with Trump today. 8 hours ago, blasts echo across Tehran as IDF announced a new round of large-scale strikes on Iranian targets. Again, that came 8 hours ago. An MDA spokesperson 8 hours ago said, quote, following the shooting towards the state of Israel, at this stage, no casualties are known. MDA medics and paramedics have gone out to scan scenes where reports were received. Again, so those two reports there kind of going hand in hand, occurring during the same hour. As always, highly recommend you guys go and check out the Institute of the Study of War daily breakdown of strikes geolocated in Iran. Very, very, very good stuff there. Highly recommend checking that out. Here, again, some statements from President Donald Trump, again, about the possible Russian involvement here on if they are helping Iran.
You think Putin is helping them?
I think he might be helping him a little bit, yeah, I guess. And he probably thinks we're helping Ukraine, right?
And you are, right?
Yeah, we're helping him also. And so he says that. And China would say the same thing, It's like, hey, they do it and we do it, in all fairness.
You think...
8 hours ago, from CENTCOM, B-2 stealth bombers take off to conduct a mission during Operation Epic Fury. You can see some image here of that aircraft getting ready to take off. One hell of an aircraft that one is, for sure. Again, they've been utilizing B-52 bombers, B-1 Lancers, and B-2s as well. P Potato posted this article, actually, over in the Situation Room. This is talking about the USS Oscar Austin shooting down that Iranian missile over Turkey. Again, which came earlier today. Again, the U.S. Navy destroyer USS Oscar Austin shot down an Iranian ballistic missile over Turkey on Friday, a U.S. official confirmed to the Associated Press, marking the third time in 2 weeks that a U.S. Navy destroyer in the eastern Mediterranean intercepted an Iranian missile in Turkish airspace. Again, this comes as Iran is very adamant about denying firing any missiles. Again, it would seem that Iran is attempting to drag Turkey into this war. Parker says, did everything get quieter all of a sudden? Yes, it does sound like that, yeah. We still do have audio coming out of Beirut, as well as Jerusalem. as well as our second Beirut feed, and of course Tel Aviv as well. Currently about 5:03 in Israel. 8 hours ago, just in, Israel's political leadership has ordered the IDF to add all bridges south of the Litani to its target list. A senior security official said, quote, "We will not hesitate to separate between the territory of South Lebanon and the rest of Lebanon beyond Litani." 8 hours ago, dozens of U.S. Air Force aerial refueling tankers are operating over the Middle East tonight, supporting strikes on Iran. The skies are remarkably busy along the Saudi-Iraqi border as tankers rotate in the Persian Gulf to top up fighters. You can see here on screen an absolute frenzy of airborne refueling aircraft occurring there on the map. And actually, if you go over here to Flight Radar 24, as I came on the air, there was a few up. We might not have any on screen at the moment. Doesn't look like we have any on screen at the moment here. Oh, there is one. This is interesting. This is one of the first times we've seen this, actually. There is one currently loitering in a holding pattern over the Persian Gulf here. Very interesting stuff. And then we also have a few more here as well. Okay, yep. So there are a few. Again, I kind of missed those there as I was scrolling past. But, yeah, quite a few KC-135Rs. There's two here, again, in kind of close proximity to each other. They are clipping. They're moving into theater there. But again, and then this one here is interesting, kind of in that holding pattern there. But we'll keep an eye on those. So again, just at this very moment in time, live as we speak to you, there is quite a few of these airborne refuelers operating. And again, keep in mind of how many aircraft are being sustained by these refuelers. If you see what we got, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 here, right? You know, each one of these refuelers can sustain upwards of 12 aircraft, right? So do the math on that one. What do we got going on here? This looks like a transponder issue here. Yeah, that's a transponder issue. That's a glitch. That's a glitch in the system, ladies and gentlemen, a glitch in the system. But again, we'll keep an eye on these airborne refuelers here. Very interesting stuff. From a Hezbollah leader earlier today, he says, quote, "We will continue as Hezbollah and the Islamic resistance to assist and support Palestine in order to liberate it, just as we aided Gaza, sacrificing many lives." Same statement. So, 7 hours ago, Brent crude closes above 100 a barrel for the second straight day per reports. It's been holding pretty steady there around 100 a barrel for the past 24 to 36 hours here. We'll see if that price changes come Monday. Again, a lot could happen over the weekend. Some statements by U.S. President Donald Trump here over the phone on Fox News here. He's denied some statements from the Pentagon on Ukraine's Vladimir Zelensky, stating that the United States had requested and been granted direct assistance from Ukraine in order to help counter the threat posed by drones in Iran. Let's give that a listen here.
Are they helping us with drone defense too?
No, we don't need the help in drone defense. No, we do. We know more about drones than anybody. We have the best drones in the world, actually.
Are they helping us with
Sounded like Trump just got out of bed in that interview. He sounded really tired. 7 hours ago, Hezbollah's Qassam says, you say that we provoked the enemy. 15 months and 500 deaths do not provoke you. Our response is what provokes. We decided to call this operation the War of the Consumed Chaff, aimed at defending Lebanon, protecting our land, and preserving our honor. So yeah, a lot of statements there given by that Hezbollah leader today. There was quite a few. If you want to go and read all of them, you can find them over on our X feed. That's x.com/Nemico Network. 7 hours ago, several explosions were seen and heard in Tehran, Iran, per footage obtained by Vahid Online. Let's take a look at this footage here on screen. Footage from a bit ago shows an Israeli airstrike on Beirut's southern suburbs in Lebanon. This is coming 7 hours ago. Let's take a look at this footage here. You can see that blast happening there. Seven hours ago, sirens are sounding in Bahrain, per reports, and there's actually a clip here from an emergency broadcast that went out on television here again about those sirens sounding. Again, more of that footage coming out of Iran. Following the U.S. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth's announcement that the next 24 hours will see some of the most significant strikes of the war so far, intense strikes are now ongoing across Iran, specifically Tehran. And again, that footage there, you can see quite a few pretty large blasts occurring there. 7 hours ago, from Scent Defender, per an Israeli official to Israeli media outlets on strikes against Iran, there is an intention to launch attacks on Iranian nuclear targets and sites soon. Soon, TM. Soon, as they say. Six hours ago, sirens now sound in Bahrain amidst a new wave of Iranian strikes against their Gulf neighbors. Again, that was 6 hours ago. 6 hours ago, 5,000 additional Marines and sailors are deploying to the Middle East to support the war in Iran, U.S. officials tell NBC News. Again, that was 5 hours ago. Still waiting to get more information on that. As of right now, officially from CENTCOM, it is 2,500, upwards of 2,500. So this figure of 5,000 additional Marines, again, is still... again, we're still waiting to get more information on that. But as I stated earlier, it is possible, again, that we might see more Marines, more forces here, again, deployed to the region. 6 hours ago, the Saudi Arabian Ministry of Defense has announced that they tracked and shot down an Iranian ballistic missile launched towards the Kharg government there in Saudi Arabia. Six hours ago, France is pushing on with its efforts to put together a coalition to secure the Strait of Hormuz. Once the security situation stabilizes, two French officials told Reuters after a report suggested Paris was negotiating safe passage for its ships there. 6 hours ago, the Israeli Air Force announced that under the guidance of military intelligence, they conducted a strike yesterday that killed the Martsa Hussein Sarour, who was responsible for the production of weapons for Lebanese Hezbollah fighters there. Six hours ago, the Saudi Arabian Ministry of Defense has announced the shootdown of an Iranian drone in the empty quarter of the country. Again, another separate incident there that occurred in Saudi Arabia today. Again, saying a drone was intercepted over Saudi Arabia's eastern province, the defense minister said. U.S. President Donald Trump said that the war with Iran will be over when I feel it in my bones. Let's listen to that statement here.
I'm doing something about it, and I had to take an excursion. We had the greatest economy in history. We still do. Oh, this will bounce right back. When it's over, and I don't think it's going to be long, when it's over, this is going to bounce right back so fast.
When are you going to know when it's over?
When I feel it.
Okay.
I feel it in my bones.
Will you ask anybody in particular? Would that be some of these...
When I feel it in my bones, he says. 5 hours ago, U.S. Air Force B-52H heavy bomber returning back to base in England after an Iran strike yesterday. So again, the U.S. has been utilizing those English bases quite a lot for conducting these strikes in Iran. Very interesting stuff. A lot of the footage I've been seeing of these bombers taking off and landing are from one or two bases here, specifically in England. Some footage here earlier today. Again, this is coming from Iran. It's footage showing the launch of Iranian drones against Israel, their Gulf neighbors, and U.S. bases and infrastructure in the region. You can see them using those rocket-initiated kind of catapult launcher systems there to launch those Shahed 136s. Very interesting stuff. Four hours ago, according to CNN, citing a senior Iranian official, Iran is now mulling the possibility of letting tankers through the Strait of Hormuz only if the oil on board is traded in Chinese yuan. The majority of international oil trades are done in U.S. dollars, as you very well may know. According to a post from U.S. President Donald J. Trump on his Truth Social app, at his direction, U.S. Central Command obliterated every military target in Iran's crown jewel, the Kharg Island. Let me read this for you here. Again, it says, moments ago, at my direction, the United States Central Command executed one of the most powerful bombing raids in history of the Middle East and totally obliterated every military target in Iran's crown jewel, Kharg Island. Our weapons are the most powerful and sophisticated the world has ever known, but for reasons of decency, I have chosen not to wipe out the oil infrastructure on the island. However, should Iran or anyone else do anything to interfere with free and safe passage of the ships through the Strait of Hormuz, I will immediately reconsider this decision. During my first term, and currently, I rebuilt our military in the most lethal, powerful, and effective force by far anywhere in the world. Iran has no ability to defend anything that we want to attack. There is nothing they can do about it. Iran will never have a nuclear weapon, nor will it have the ability to threaten the United States of America, the Middle East, or, for that matter, the world. Iran's military and all others involved in this terrorist regime would be wise to lay down their arms and save what's left of their country, which isn't much. 3 hours ago, according to a report from the Wall Street Journal citing 2 U.S. officials, 5 U.S. tankers were struck and damaged while on the ground at Prince Sultan Air Base in Saudi Arabia during an Iranian ballistic missile strike, per one U.S. official. Interesting stuff there, ladies and gentlemen. 3 hours ago, early reports indicate a strike in Baghdad, Iraq, as pro-Iranian-backed militia channels are reporting the sounds of explosions now. Again, there's been a lot of fighting happening in Iraq. I think that's been reported less than it should. There's been a lot of heavy fighting in Iraq. In and around U.S. installations there, especially. Most of that being done by pro-Iranian-backed militia groups, but there have been strikes, missile strikes and drone strikes coming in from Iran on targets within Iraq as well. All right, this is coming from New York Times, citing a U.S. official. New York Times has elaborated on the previously reported strikes on Iran's economically important Kharg Island. The official confirmation President Donald J. Trump earlier made on his Truth Social. Again, the strikes on Kharg Island, Iran's oil export hub, targeted all of the military infrastructure on the island. A military official said U.S. Air Force bombers struck missile storage sites, as well as sites that housed Iranian mines. Those are those sea mines, again, that we've been talking about over the past few broadcasts here. The official said, he said the United States did not target the economic infrastructure on the island. Again, referring directly to that oil infrastructure. In a Truth Social post by Trump earlier today, he said, quote, Iran had plans of taking over the entire Middle East and completely obliterating Israel. Just like Iran itself, those plans are now dead. President Donald J. Trump. 1 hour ago, a massive explosion being reported across Baghdad amidst ongoing strikes against Iranian-backed paramilitary forces by the U.S. Air Force. 3 additional B-52H Stratofortress long-range strategic bombers with the United States Air Force 5th Bomb Wing, based out of Minot Air Force Base, North Dakota, landed early Friday at RAF Fairford in, and I'm probably going to butcher this pronunciation here, Gloucestershire, England. Again, those bases there in England being heavily utilized by U.S. forces, again, to conduct their operations in and around Iran. Very interesting stuff. Epi might know if I pronounced that correctly. Epi might have a fix on the proper pronunciation. Gloucestershire. Did I get that right? Did I do that? Did I do that one okay? Gloucestershire. 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 Epi might have some insight on that one for me. Miss Tiger Eye said, sounded good to me. Toon Rob says it's pronounced Gloucestershire. Gloucestershire. Yeah, that sounds more like it. Gloucestershire. I'm working on it, okay? We're working on it, guys. We're working on it. I'm gonna spend 2 hours a day just working on pronunciations for some of these Iranian, Middle Eastern town names, and we might have to get a few other lessons going for things like this. Isaac says Clustershire. Sheer, not Shire. Sheer. Okay, alright, I'm going to try this one more time. Gloucestershire. 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 Epi says, okay, I would trust Epi, I think, over anybody here in the chat on that one. Gloucestershire. We'll work on that one. We'll work on that one. 1 hour ago, footage has now been published by President Donald J. Trump showing today's strikes against Iranian military targets on Kharg Island in the northern Persian Gulf, which acts as a port hub for the export of up to 90% of oil products leaving Iran. Let's take a look here. Mad Brody says it's not sheer, it be sure. Oh, sure, yes. No, that's right. That's right. Gloucestershire. I think that's the correct pronunciation there. Hold on, I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna look it up. Look it up real quick. I'm gonna get a fix on this one. Gloucestershire. Gloucestershire. It says Gloucestershire. Toon Rob says, spot on pronouncing it, and that he's British. Spot on. It's Gloucestershire. Gloucestershire. All right. We got that one in the dictionary. That one's logged and ready to rock and roll for future uses here. Happy Moose says, yeah, like what? So I like in the U.S. I feel like we say Worcestershire instead of Worcestershire. Like Worcestershire sauce. I might be pronouncing that one wrong as well. Worcestershire. All right. Moving on here. 1 hour ago, this is coming from Centefender. Israel is preparing to launch a full-scale ground invasion of Lebanon. Likely the largest operation by Israel targeting its northern neighbor since 2006, aimed at seizing the entire area south of Litani River and dismantling Hezbollah in that region. Some images of that Merkava tank there. One of the coolest tanks, by the way, I think, besides the good old U.S. Abrams. The Merkava is a very capable tank, for those that don't know. Larry with the super chat, thank you so much, man. Says Gloucester Shizzle. Yeah, maybe we'll have to use that one. Gloucester Shizzle. Appreciate the support there, Larry. Appreciate it. I will add, there is already a ground element. They already have moved into Lebanon, right? In some capacity, right? In a limited capacity. Also, sounds like we're getting some rain here. In Beirut, question mark? Yep, Beirut. Beirut is getting some rain at the moment, ladies and gentlemen, as you can hear a soft pitter-patter of rain coming down on the camera gear here at this rooftop here in Beirut. Yeah, logged, locked, and loaded in the dictionary for the next time we need to pronounce that one. 1 hour ago, before the start of Operation Epic Fury, General Dan Kane, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, told President Donald J. Trump several times that an American attack could prompt Iran to close the Strait of Hormuz. No doubt they had that one. They had that one in the cards, for sure. Again, more excellent reporting here from the ISW. Highly recommend if you guys want some extended reading material on the situation on the ground in Iran, that you go check this out. Very, very, very good stuff that they've been putting out. I really, really respect some of the work that the ISW has done, both in Ukraine and abroad. We've reached the end of our feed here. I'm going to go ahead and refresh, and I'll read off any of the latest stuff that has come in. And, of course, it's deciding to give me some issues here. Let me see if we can... No, it's giving me some issues. I guess in place of that, I'll read you some of the latest stuff coming in from Live UA Map. Read you a few of the posts from both the Iran Live UA Map and the Israel-Palestine Live UA Map as well. 26 minutes ago, the Dubai Government Media Office says it's dealing with an incident caused by falling debris resulting from a successful interception on the facade of a building downtown Dubai has concluded. Oh, they were dealing with an incident caused by falling debris resulting from a successful interception on the facade of a building in downtown Dubai, but has concluded. I see. 26 minutes ago, the Qatari Ministry of Defense announces that the armed forces intercepted a missile attack targeting the country. And then 34 minutes ago, Kuwaiti National Guard says they shot down a drone over Kuwaiti airspace. So yeah, again, attacks happening as I'm bringing you guys here this broadcast. 38 minutes ago, renewed interceptions of aerial targets in the skies over Qatari capital of Doha were reported. And then an hour ago, Iran's first official statement on the situation on Kharg Island after the devastating U.S. attack. Far's news agency an hour ago says Kharg Island was targeted by airstrikes. More than 15 explosions were heard on the island. They attempted to damage military fortifications and Joshan naval base there on the island. Let me see here. Let me scroll out. So yeah, there's 3 geolocated reports from Kharg Island. 2 hours ago, Trump releases the footage, again, of U.S. bombing Iran's Kharg Island, which handles 90% of the nation's oil exports. And then an hour ago, Far's news agency said raids on Kharg Island damaged air defenses, naval base, control tower, and a helicopter hangar there on that island. Switching over to our Israeli-Palestine map here, 24 minutes ago, Hezbollah says we shelled a gathering of Israeli soldiers in the Al-Hamasaya area west of the border town of Belida. Not sure if I'm pronouncing that one correctly either. With artillery shells. Again, still waiting to get more information on that. And again, that was just more of the same reports that I gave you moments ago. Let's see. Okay, so we do have our most recent reports here. 1 minute ago, smoke can be seen rising from the U.S. Embassy compound in Baghdad, Iraq, following a possible direct impact on the roof of the building by Iranian one-way attack drones. Okay, so I have to update my cameras here, guys. So these got behind by a few minutes, but you can see, maybe not on the Jerusalem cam. Looks like the exposure is down a little bit, but on this camera here, and if I switch over to here, you can see the sun is coming up there. And where's that post? Yeah, so Iraq is actually a little bit further. They're a little bit ahead time-wise than Israel. I believe, let me get the exact... Yeah, it's 6:27 a.m. for them there. And it's currently 5:27 in Israel. So they're about an hour ahead. So I was wondering, because if this is a recent post, why is it so bright? So it does look like the sun has come up over Iraq at the moment. Again, that morning light you can be seen here in this image here. But again, smoke can be seen rising from that U.S. Embassy compound in Baghdad, Iraq, following a possible direct impact on the roof of that building by an Iranian one-way attack drone. Random Creator says, do we know how far into Lebanon the IDF has pushed so far? Yes, so they've mainly pushed into this region here. Everything that's in red here, there's most likely been IDF forces on the ground in some capacity in these areas. They've been operating into this area that's shaded in red. These areas that are shaded in purple are areas that are reportedly where the IDF has kind of moved in and is holding some territory or has, again, boots on the ground in kind of a more long-term role, so to speak, at the moment. But everything in red here is as far as they've put in. This red kind of represents contested territory. David, good to see you. Good to see you. It says, New China News, apparently naval exercises near Taiwan again. Yes, they've been happening almost on a weekly basis. That's, again, another reason why we have the dedicated critical alert category for Taiwan, China, open on the Discord server. Highly recommend any of you Intel buffs, again, that are on our Discord server, to start posting reports that you see in those channels. Because, again, I want to get more information going on that topic for China-Taiwan. Again, that's no doubt going to be the next major conflict that we will see here in probably the next coming few years here. Again, 2027 is China's deadline for being ready to invade Taiwan. So, again, important for us to start getting a fix on what's going on in that region in the South Pacific, for sure, for sure. 1 hour ago, an image posted to Facebook appears to show U.S. Air Force KC-135 Stratotanker, registration 638017, with severe damage, again, to the top section of his tail. I believe I showed you one of those images in last night's broadcast that had just been posted, if I'm not mistaken. So, ladies and gentlemen, that about concludes, again, my reports that I have for you tonight, again, on the ongoing situation in the Middle East. Again, I know I mentioned this earlier, but tonight's a little bit of a short broadcast. We're coming in at just about 2 hours runtime for you guys here this evening. That's compared to our kind of 5-hour runtime we've been doing over the course of this week, and, I mean, even some of the 7 to 10-hour streams that we did earlier in this conflict. It's because I got some stuff going on here that I have to, again, get taken care of. So again, I apologize for that. A little bit of a shorter report for tonight. But I was glad I was able to at least get on and get you guys updated on everything that's been going on, because we did have quite a few major developments today. Again, with it being a Friday night, I would have loved to have stayed up with you guys and pulled like a 10-hour stream and, again, done some more deep diving into stuff. We'll most likely do something like that tomorrow or Sunday. I am planning to do kind of a longer stream at some point this weekend. Again, we'll kind of go into some deeper diving and some more analysis here on what's been going on in the region. But at least I was able to get on here and get you guys the reports and get you guys updated on everything that's been kind of going on here. So, as I mentioned last night, the open source intelligence streams are making a return. The 24/7 streams for the cams and for the automated open source intelligence monitoring, they're going to be up. Don't worry. They're almost there. I made great headway with those today, so I'm proud to announce that those will be, again, back up and operating 24/7, not only for the Middle East / Iran, but also for Ukraine, and then also we have a China-Taiwan one as well that's going to be making its debut here soon. Also, some new videos in the works. I might or might not be getting one up this weekend for you guys that I've been putting a lot of work into, again, related to the Iranian situation. It's another Iran kind of analysis video that I've been working on, so hoping to get that up to you guys as well, possibly this weekend. As I said in last night's broadcast, I'm trying to get into a schedule of 1 to 2 videos a week, definitely put out a video around every Wednesday, and then another one at some point later in the week. George, I'm not sure if I pronounced that correctly. Thank you so much for subscribing. Highly appreciate it. Again, if you haven't joined the Discord, Miss Tiger Eye just dropped a link in the live chat. There's also a link in the description below where you can join our Discord server. Highly recommend you go and do that. You can join in on the community discussion, get 24/7 open source intelligence updates in our automated feed channels, and you can also get almost around-the-clock reports that are aggregated by our wonderful community members over there. There's lots of people contributing. We have all sorts of different categories and channels that you can browse through, again, showing different data, different reports, etc., that have been aggregated by all sorts of lovely individuals that have been providing for us over there on the Discord server. Also, follow us on X. That's x.com/Nemico Network. Miss Tiger Eye also just posted a link to that in the live chat there. You can also find a link to that in the description below. Over here, you can find 24/7 open source intelligence updates. Not only curated posts by us, but also open source intelligence reports, analysis, and news aggregated from other sources from around the web. Highly recommend it. It's a great resource for up-to-date information, not only on what's going on here in Iran, which, again, right now our feed is pretty much exclusively dominated by Iran/Middle East news. But believe it or not, this feed here is constantly monitoring events that are happening across the globe. So whenever anything major happens across the globe, here in the U.S. domestically, over in the Middle East, in Ukraine, etc., you're going to see it here in this post, probably before you're going to see it on the mainstream news. Well before you see it. Hours before you see it on the mainstream news, most likely, okay? So again, highly recommend it. It's a great resource. Big shout out to everybody that supported the channel in tonight's stream, and to everybody that supported the channel in general. Love you guys. Thank you so much for the support. Again, it's what makes this possible for me to continue bringing this content to you and continue to make this content better and improve what we do here. Big shout out to all the new members that we have as well. YouTube members, I got some stuff in the works for you. Really excited to bring that your way. Again, soon TM on that one. We'll have some stuff for you. Don't worry. Big shout out to all the subscribers over on Twitch as well. We also have some stuff coming for you guys as well. Don't worry, everybody that is a member on the YouTube channel or a subscriber over on Twitch or in general any type of financial supporter of the channel and the work that we do here will reap the rewards, all right? Again, most of you have already been given your VIP rank over on the Discord server. If you are a YouTube member or if you are a Twitch subscriber and you have not gotten your VIP rank on the Discord server, right? It's that VIP role. Or if you have not got your Twitch subscriber role or your YouTube member role or anything of the sort, reach out to me on Discord. Send a message to me directly, or you can also mention me in one of the channels as well. I don't mind. Let me know, and I can get that fixed for you, or possibly I can have one of the mods help you out as well. I just prefer you just reach out to me directly, because, again, then I can make sure it's done. And we can make sure that you guys get those roles and stuff. Because if you are a member or a supporter or a Twitch subscriber in any capacity, you get access to our VIP chat in the Discord server. In that VIP chat is where I will be announcing members-only content or any type of content that's going out to people that support the channel. And so that's the best way to make sure you're getting that stuff and again, reaping those benefits and rewards of helping us here and supporting this content. So, but again, guys, there are links to everything down in the description below this video. I have more content coming at you guys. We will be live again tomorrow. Again, not sure if it's going to be a shorter stream again tomorrow or if we're going to be doing a long and in-depth stream tomorrow. Again, as I said, I want to at least do one longer one this weekend. But again, we will be live again tomorrow. I will try my best to push that out on the Discord and possibly the YouTube posts section ahead of time. Speaking of which, on our YouTube posts section, let me see if I can bring this up really quick for you. We are running a poll on our YouTube posts section at the moment. And in fact, I can just bring this up on screen here for you. And we can take a look at it. If you guys have not voted in this poll yet, please go over to the YouTube channel now and vote in that poll. All right, the poll question is, have you been getting notifications on YouTube when we post new videos or live streams? It has a few options here. If you could, please go over there and vote in that poll. I'm going to run it for like a week or two here, and then I'll be able to kind of get a good fix on who's getting notifications and, you know, when we go live for videos and live streams and stuff like that. So that'll be super, super helpful to me in kind of figuring out a game plan here for tackling that situation and, you know, handling that as we move forward here. So, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Videos coming your way. Again, I got a lot of them in the works. One will most likely be posted this weekend. I'm also looking at, again, starting to upload more shorts. I did upload one. It was of a explosion above Beirut that we had recorded. I have a whole bunch of clips. Skies over on the Twitch channel, and there's been a few others as well, have been recording clips from these live streams of explosions and stuff like that. But there's other shorts that I wanted to do and upload besides this, besides like clips from, you know, strikes that occur. There's other shorts that I want to put up. So I'm going to start uploading more shorts as well over on the YouTube channel. So keep an eye out for that, as well as the new videos and, of course, the live streams as always. But I think that is about it. I'm pretty sure. I think that about caps it off. Captain Lego says, hey, Nemico, long time no speak. I don't know if you remember me, but we spoke at the beginning of the Ukraine war. I do believe I do remember you, Captain. Good to see you. Thank you for tuning in all this time later. Again, I always love seeing people that tuned in back then during the invasion of Ukraine. Tuning in after all these years. Really love seeing you guys return. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, again, if you guys haven't already, hit the like button below on this stream, and then head over to our YouTube channel. We just uploaded a new video. It's a really good one. If you haven't seen it yet, go check it out. It's a video on AI generated images and videos and propaganda and misinformation during the Middle Eastern conflict / Iran war. It's a pretty big deep dive where I show you guys examples of the misinformation that we've been seeing, examples of some of that AI-generated content that we've been seeing spread around is fake, like fake war footage, essentially. And also, I show you some tips and tricks on how you can identify stuff like that. So I highly recommend you go check out that video. We have some other videos over there as well you might want to watch if you haven't seen them already. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So again, that concludes our open source intelligence live report here on the ongoing situation in the Middle East for March 13th, 2026, day 14 of this ongoing situation here in the Middle East. Again, we will be back tomorrow for ongoing reports live here on the Nemico Network. But until then, make sure you subscribe, make sure you hit the like button, and as always, stay safe, stay sharp. You're watching Nemico Network. Also, big shout out to all the mods in the live chat. Thank you guys so much for doing what you do.
Nemico.